Do you cringe because every time you fire up a heavy game, you're greeted with the whine of your blower fan spinning up to max blow-emitron on your graphics card?
Oh, disgusting!
Well, one solution is water cooling, but that's expensive and time-consuming, and not everybody is comfortable filling their electronics up with water. Let's face it, we can't all be complete mad lads.
Oh, who's the idiot now?
Fortunately, RaiJinTek has the solution for you. This is the Morpheus 8057, a huge GPU air cooler that apparently fits both Nvidia and AMD graphics cards. And we are going to give this puppy a shot to see if it's a sizable upgrade over your stock cooler. And also, if it could be a simpler, more cost-effective solution than water cooling. You know what else is cost-effective? Telling you about our sponsor, Glasswire. With Glasswire, you can instantly see your current and past network activity, detect malware, and block badly behaving apps on your PC or Android device. Use offer code Linus and get 25% off Glasswire at the link in the video description. The basic concept here of strapping a giant cooler to your graphics card is nothing new. Last year, we put a tower CPU cooler onto an RTX 2080 Ti with great results. That is, as long as you don't want to install any expansion cards. And purpose-built products for this have existed for over a decade. So what's so special about this then? When it comes to performance, honestly speaking, probably not much. In fact, RaiJinTek appears to have reused photographs of one of their previous GPU coolers on the 8057 product page. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. Compared to the relatively small cooling elements that are included on many graphics cards, I'm expecting a reduction in noise and an improvement in performance out of this thing. So really then, the new model number comes down to compatibility. Rather than being stuck fabricating your own mounting hardware, the Morpheus 8057 includes everything that you will need to mount to either a reference PCB card from Nvidia or from AMD. Certainly looks pretty nice. Highlights of the product include the 12 heat pipes, so you can see these 6 over on this side, wrap around right there, and they terminate right here. And then these 6 over here carry over this way. So really, each half of this is kind of cooled by half of these heatsink fins. It's got a nice black finish on it, definitely a fan of that. And it's rated for a total of 360 watts of heat dissipation. Of course, it can have wonderful specs and be very beautiful, but none of that matters if the performance sucks. So let's go ahead and investigate that. Step 1 is to install the appropriate bracket. The arrows need to point towards these curved heat pipes in the back. Step number 2, after you've determined where the holes line up, you're gonna go ahead and install these standoffs into the bottom of the cooler. One of my little tricks is that I actually like to do a dry wipe of chips before I do a wet wipe with alcohol. It can help pull off the majority of the thermal goop before you start just spreading it around. Holy bananas, this is a lot of thermal interface junk to, okay, wow. To RaiJinTek's credit, they've done you the courtesy of putting little tabby tabs on one side of some of these, so it's a little bit easier to get the things off, but this is gonna be pretty tedious, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go, good luck everybody. I have my doubts about this. One of the other little tricks that I've learned over the years is to basically never ever trust double-sided thermal tape. If you were actually gonna deploy this for long-term use, I would strongly recommend investing the $13 or whatever it is in a high-quality thermal epoxy like the one made by Tech Ingredients, another YouTuber. Really? Okay. All right, let's do the D. Where the heck does D go? This is not a great diagram.
I believe D goes on the 2 large chips directly to the left of the main.
You've got to be kidding me. That's a memory heatsink? Doesn't that just drive you crazy?
Yep.
Like as an engineering background?
At this point, do you think this is harder or easier than water cooling?
Oh, you're gonna make me answer that, are you? I think that this is similar in difficulty compared to installing a GPU water block, but you don't have to deal with the added complexity of all the other aspects of custom water cooling? It's a good question though. A valuable one for our viewers to have the answer to. Hard-hitting tech journalism right here, folks. Here's a hard-hitting tech journalism question. Copper is a lot heavier than aluminum, and we're using the same crappy adhesive that I think is barely holding on the aluminum. How long will this stay here? You know what's really mind-blowing to me about this is that this isn't the only heatsink that doesn't fit at all. The copper one doesn't go all the way to the end of this bank of modules, and this aluminum one is completely different from that other one. It's double the width, and the fins run the opposite way, and it's like twice as long as it needs to be. All three of these are for memory chips, and these two are actually on 2 chips each, the same number of chips. Like, what am I looking at here? This is the definition of a mix. Oh shoot, which one's, see, this diagram is so shockingly bad.
I think those 2 long bars go on, like, not only the tiny strip of VRMs, but also the bigger ones right next to them.
This just gets more random every time I put something on it. I can't.
Okay, you got 3 more heat sinks to go. We're getting there.
No, I can't. This is so stupid.
Oh, there's so many things that should have thermal pads, according to Nvidia there.
Okay, well, according to RaiJinTek, we ready, boys? We're gonna use their included thermal goop. Oh yeah, it smells like generic. Let's just get that on there. That should be, oh, that's really a lot. It won't affect performance, but I just don't feel like cleaning up the mess. Yeah, so these are all gonna have to come off. I just knocked off another heatsink. Okay, yeah, we're calling that good. There goes that heatsink. So we're gonna be using our ROG machine as our test bench. It's got a 9900 KS and an ROG Maximus 11 motherboard with 64 gigs of 3200 megahertz CL14 Trident Z RGB memory. And, well, it used to have an ROG Strix 2080 Ti, but we went with a Founders Edition because we wanted a pretty good chance of compatibility. Our GPU was pre-tested with the power limit slider cranked to 112%, but without any clock speed adjustments. And we'll be pairing our Morpheus with these Noctua NF A12Fs to see how it compares. Now, if PCI expansion was a priority, we might choose something lower profile, and conveniently, the Morpheus does include 25 millimeter. It does include brackets for low profile fans. But here's the thing, unless you're into high-speed networking or PCI Express storage, the odds are that you don't have a ton of add-in cards. So we're going with these because I think it's going to be a great combination of maximum performance and silence, as long as you don't mind a little bit of GPU sag. Okay, it looks like these clip onto the bottom here. Nope, it looks like they clip onto the top, and then you just gotta drag them. Wait, what? That's it? Oh my goodness. Probably wouldn't be a terrible idea to put the I/O bracket back on. It does give you a little less leeway for kajiggering when you're putting your cards in. That is some next level sagage there. That's like...
That poor PCI slot.
Yeah. Okay. We just lost another heatsink. Oh no, we lost 2 more. Okay. Oh, we close now. Okay, well what, like, did we just fire it up or what?
Just send it.
While you do that, I'm just gonna collect all the heat sinks that have fallen off so far. Is this an appropriate look how they massacred my boy moment? Now we're all set up. We're logging temperature data from hardware info. We've got Afterburner cranked to 112% power limit, and we're gonna run a GPU stress test in Furmark here. We're running at 2560 by 1080 with 4 times MSAA. We're trying to really toast this graphics card. No, I don't want this warning. Give it to me. Those fans are barely running. I can tell you right now that GPU is basically silent, plugged into the motherboard headers. That's steep, but hold on, give it time, give it time.
What's this in that?
55. Oh, and with the panel closed?
With the panel closed?
Let's get the panel closed.
Yep, we'll do that.
Does that just go on like that?
Sure does. Okay, so we hit 96 FPS average at 78 degrees Celsius was our kind of...
That was our equilibrium point?
Yes. Is there any coil line?
Curiously, not that I can detect, which is funny to me because I went and I water blocked an RTX Titan a little while back and it was just nasty in terms of coil whine. This looks like it's settled in now. We're still running at 96 FPS. If we go ahead and pop open hardware info, we can see that we are at 1920, so we've not lost any of our maximum turbo here.
Definitely dropped to 1700 on the stock cooler, if I remember correctly. But
You went to dropped to 1700?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, well, fantastic. Then that is a substantially better result because we're running at 72 degrees Celsius, max turbo, and these fans are like barely spinning. You hear that? Those are at like 600, 700 RPM. If the question was, does this outperform the stock cooler? Then the answer is yes. But if the question is, should I run out after having spent extra on a Founders Edition card anyway, and go buy this aftermarket accessory for it that has, quite frankly, not just an unintuitive, but kind of a scary installation process, and then just terrible quality when it comes to the thermal pad staying on? The answer gets a little bit more complicated. I think really the takeaway here is when we compare the results, we were gonna put the RaiJinTek on this Strix card, but now that we've seen these results, I don't think it makes any sense. When we compare the results to just buying a card with a big fat beefy cooler on it in the first place, the answer is pretty obvious, especially because this doesn't cost an extra $70, $80 over a Founders Edition. If it's not obvious, the answer is no. And if it's not also obvious, I gotta tell you about my sponsor right about now. What do you get when you mix Drop.com and THX? You get the Drop THX Panda wireless headphones. They feature audiophile quality with no wires. They claim they're the world's most distortion-free wireless headphones, and quite frankly, from listening to them myself, I have not heard anything that even comes close. They're a closed-back headphone. They feature THX's AAA amplifier technology. The sound quality is the same whether you run them with Bluetooth or with a wire, and you get 30 hours of wireless life. Pretty freaking awesome. You can even get a detachable gaming mic for them. So check them out today at the link in the video description. If you guys enjoyed this video, you might actually enjoy one of mine and Colin's previous crazy GPU cooling experiments where we put a CPU tower cooler on a graphics card. I think I would go as far as to say that one was more sensible.
Significantly more sensible.
I mean, aside from just a power drill, we didn't really need any crazy tools to mount the thing, and I trusted it way more than this, quite honestly.
You needed a huge case though.
That's true.